So in this quick tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how you can experiment with different fonts and do different things to your text to make it a little bit more creative. So once you've picked a font and downloaded it to your computer, so you can see here, downloaded it, it's gone into my downloads bar, I've got my folder here, and you install either the OTF file or the TTF file. So if I double click on that, it would say install font. I'd install it here onto my computer. I already have, so I'm not going to do it now. And sometimes what you need to do first off to make sure it comes up on Photoshop is close Photoshop entirely, so quit it, and make sure that it's not got a little dot on the bottom of your dock, so it's fully closed, and then reopen it. You should be able to find your font. So in your toolbar, you'll need to use the text tool, which is this one here. Make sure on your text tool you create a text box to write in your word, and make sure that you've selected the font you want. So mine's Urban Jungle, I've got regular, I've got size 48 along here. So type the name of my movie in here. Let's make that a little bit bigger so you can see what we're doing to it. There we go. So to start with, I'm going to show you a couple of basic edits that you can do to change your text. First off, if you go to Window and you pull up Character, okay, you've got all these little options that come up here. Now the first one you've got is font size, so you can change the font size. Okay, the second one here that you've got, depending upon your font, you might be able to change it up, but usually what this does is changes the sort of spacing, so you can see it sort of changing the spacing between the letters. This here again is stretch of your font, so if I put 200, okay, so it's stretching the font up. Put it back to normal, or you can shrink it as well actually, so I could put 50, put it back to 100. Okay, you've got, this tends to be where it sits in terms of the box. If you've got lines of text as well, it can change sort of the lines of it, and it can also give you a drop, so you could select sort of the T, make the T bigger. Again, this one's more about spacing between lines, and you've got this one which stretches out how close together the letters are, or how wide apart the letters are. It's quite nice actually. Back to normal. Okay, and then you've also got the colour, so we could change the colour up. If you want to change the colour, again we can make something bold. Oops, think about it. Okay, metallic, strike through, various other things. So what you're going to do is you're going to experiment with your font and have a page with sort of different things done to it. So if, for instance, just undo these things. Okay, so if we just have it back to normal, you've got your normal font at the top here. I'm going to duplicate that text layer and drag that copy down, and rather than copy, I'll call that number 2. So I've got my first one and I've got my second one here, and this time with the second one what I'm going to do is edit it up a bit, so I could maybe change the spacing, stretch it out a little bit. It's quite nice. I'm going to vary the colour, deep red, and I'm going to leave it as that. So the characters is much more basic techniques that you can do. The next thing that you can move on to is in the edit controls. So you've got things here called transform. So you can obviously scale something. If you hold down shift, I can make it bigger, smaller again. Also got other options in the transform. So we could put a skew. So a skew allows us to sort of move the text in different directions. Got like that. Okay, I'm going to make another copy of that layer. I'm going to call this one 3. So I've copied that top layer again. So we've got the original version, we've got this one which has got a colour change, a bit more of a stretch and a skew, and now I've got number 3 here, which I'm going to do some more editing too. So this time, again, I can go to transform. I've got rotate, skew, warp. So in the warp, when you first select it, nothing will come up, but this top bar's actually changed. It says warp none. And in here, you've got lots of different warps. So if we go on squeeze, for instance, should squeeze that text together. There we go. And you can adjust that squeeze as well. So if I did it the other way, like so. Close that. Okay, I can decide how much that squeeze I want. When I'm happy with it, you can click enter. But there's lots of different things on there that you can do in the warp. So again, if I just go back to that warp, let's do maybe a twist. It's quite different. You can change and play about with things. So the warp's a good one to do different things as well. So again, edit, transform, warp. Then you've got your different options in here. So just do a simple arch for now. There we go. Just like under arch. Okay. And then when you press enter, it will add that. Something else that you could do is you right click and you go to blending options. So we're right clicking on our layer, control click and going to blending options. You'll have this layer style box kind of come up. Just going to put it sort of out the way. And there's lots of different options in here that we've got. So first off, you've got bevel and emboss. So if you see, if I put this on here, got different effects. You can go into your bevel and emboss and you can play around with the depth of it, how deep you want that bevel emboss. You can fill in a colour for your bevel emboss. So I might want to put a red on there, so quite bright red. And if you can see, it's put like a little red around the outside there. And again, play around with how much of that red's in there, size of it, and sort of scale of it as well, where it's angled, so top, bottom, middle, the opacity, so we can have it much stronger. There we go. You can try different effects, see if it makes much of a difference. Some of them do, some of them don't. Again, so that's quite a nice one. We've got contour as well, or texture. So that's Bevel and Boss. You can do a drop shadow, and then go on the drop shadow, and you can sort of change the opacity, the distance and size of it. So there we go, you can see that there, how thick it is, sort of size of it. I can change the colour of it if I wanted to. So again, pick a red colour, the angle that it goes from. It's quite good. I can add more than one thing, so I can do a Bevel and Boss and add a drop shadow as well. So I can do a couple of different things. Let's put that back on the top. There we go. That's quite a nice one. So it's about having a good play around. So again, if I go to my original Awakening, duplicate a copy of that, take that copy down here, and again I can right click, blending options, bring up this one again. So on that middle one we did a Bevel and Boss and a drop shadow. Maybe on this one I want to do an outer glow. So again I can click the colour, stick with reds because we're doing a sort of horror, and I can decide how much I want that red to stand out. So we've not got much of a spread or size at the moment, so see if we can make it a bit better. Let's try that again. Definitely that one. Blending options, outer glow, edit that outer glow. Put darken on that, there we go. Or you've got normal glow. Quite strong. So you can have it noisy and speckled, or less speckled. That size and spread of it. The range. Dissolve, so again different effects that you've got in here. Not all of them work. Let's go with the normal one. So that's an outer glow. Make it a bit stronger. It's a nice effect. Obviously you've got inner glow as well, which is the same, just opposite. So there you go, you can see that inner glow going on. Okay, so sometimes using these things can make your text stand out a little bit more, make it a little less flat, give it a bit more 3D effect. It's quite a nice one there. Okay, so a couple of different things you can do, and the last one's a bit of a tricky one, so not all of you might use this, but again, if I just get another layer, the last one that we're going to do is something called a puppet warp. So this time I'm going to go to Edit, Puppet Warp. It's going to rasterize the layer so that I can edit it, and it turns it into this sort of effect here. Now the first time I click my mouse, it puts a move point in here, so I can sort of move the letter up, down, wherever I want it to. The second time, it adds a pin so I can sort of stretch the letter and move it sort of any way that I want. So if I just do that for now and then press enter, so you can see it's stretched those letters. Okay, so Puppet Warp's quite fun because you can do different things with it as well. Okay, so there's a couple of different effects and it can learn to do. The last one that you can do is once you've got a rasterized layer, so sometimes you have to right click on it and press rasterize. I'll use this bottom one here because it already is. What we can do is add an image to the background. This is called creating a clip and mask. So let's go here, lovely picture. So I put that over the top of that last layer, resize it. And then right click, so control click, and this time I can go create clip and mask. You can see it's merged that image in with the text. If I give it a background layer, colour, might stand out a bit more. There we go. So you guys are gonna use one of your texts that you like and do a couple of different things with it to think about creating a title that you might like.